the last video, we added some useful constants in our application and designed a bunch of screens related to the authentication. And now, in today's episode, we will design the home main screens like the chat page, status page, and the calls page. Let's hot start this application. We built this splash screen, and this is the welcome screen that we built in the previous video. Agree and continue. We got this page to verify your phone number. Next, the OTP page, and then next, the initial profile submission page where we will select our profile and enter our username and go for it for the next pages. But this next is for now not working, and that is why we are here. We are going to make it work and create the home page. So let's go for it. So inside the app feature, we will create one directory. Its name will be home. Inside this home, we will create the dart file home page. And this home page will be a stateful widget. Its name would be home page. And let's import the material.dart. And in the build method, this is going to return the same scaffold like every page returns. So let's see how the app bar of the WhatsApp is going to look like that would be displayed on every page on top. So that is how the app bar of our home page is going to look like. It has some text of WhatsApp, a camera icon, search icon, and the menu icon, and there we have a tab bar that you may be familiar with, and we'll learn it in the week 2. So we are going to do the same thing also in here. So let's go for it and create it. So inside the scaffold, we're going to have an app bar, and this is going to be the app bar. And then inside the app bar class, this is going to accept, first of all, the title, and it will be some regular text, and the text would be WhatsApp, some styling of font size 20, and color will be the gray color coming from our color constants in the style.dart. And its font weight will be W600, like some little bit bold. And the next thing inside the app bar would be the action buttons. Like we also want the action buttons of camera, search, and this menu icon. So inside these actions, we are gonna have the row widget, and then inside this, we're gonna have 3 icons of camera, and then some size box horizontally because it's a row, and then the search icon, the menu icon, which is the more vertical like this, coming from the material icons. So to just see the preview of how until now the home page looks like, let's go to the initial profile page, and then in the next button in the gesture detector, for now we will use the navigator API to push to the material page route. In the builder, pass the context and then the arrow function of home page for now. And again, this stat would be managed efficiently in the login page when we start implementing the backend of it. So you will also get to know about this for the OTP page, login page, the initial page, and then also navigating to the home page will not require any navigations like the push or the push name. That would be managed directly. And for the other pages like settings, calls page, single chat page, and the context page, the call context page, for that we will definitely need the routes. So when there is a need of them, so we will implement the routes and manage them efficiently. But for now, just to complete the UI, we will use the navigator push API just for the completion of the UI, and later we will change this and you will learn it how we will deal with that. So for now, that's it. In the initial page, we put the navigations, and now let's again go to the home page, and that's it. Now let's how to start the application to receive the result of it. Go for agree and continue, next, next, and again next, and we got this beautiful app bar, and you can see the app bar color and also the background color is already set. That is because in the main function, in the main.dart, in the theme, we set the dark theme, and then the scaffold background color is already set of the background color that we have in the color constants, the dialog background color is also set with the app bar background color, and the app bar background color is also the app bar background color or the app bar color. So it's already set in the material app initially when the app starts. So in all the pages, there is no need to specify the scaffold background color and the app bar background color again and again. So that is why we have the default colors already specified. So we got this app bar. Next we need the tab bar and the tab view down the tab bar. So right after these action buttons, we will do, there is a property you may be familiar with that we learn it in the week 2, that is the bottom inside the app bar bottom. So this bottom is going to hold the widget of tab bar, and it has one compulsory property that is tabs, which accepts the list of widgets. So inside these tabs we will pass 3 tabs of chats, status and calls, and that has the same font size and the font weight. So that's it. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got the not tab bar controller for the tab bar. So inside the stat class here we will do create 2 variables of tab bar controller and the current tab index, because we are also going to control the tab index of the tab bar, so we also need this variable. And then in the init stat we will initialize this tab bar controller equal to tab bar tab controller, and the length would be 3 and the vsync would be this. And then for having the vsync property to access this, we will do with single ticker provider mixin, and there we go, we got this. And then also not forget to dispose the tab controller dot dispose for avoiding the useless memory leaks. That's it. Now let's pass the it can be null, and then also pass the tab controller to the tab bar, and there we go, it has error. That is because here it's correct, and then we have to remove the constant and then make these tabs constants one by one like that. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got the same error. So for that we have to hot restart the application. That is because we add the stat variable, so the stat must be resetted by hot starting the application. Agree and continue, next, next and next, and we got the chats, status, calls like that. Now next thing we have to do is some styling for the tab bar. So for the tab bar label color we pass the tab color, and for the unselected label color we pass the gray color, and for the indicator color we pass the same tab color. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got the tabs like this. Now next thing we have to do is to deal with the tab bar view to create the chats page, stats page and also the calls page. But before going forward, here is one more thing that we have to consider. That is creating the floating action button on every page on status, calls and chats page. So the floating action button will be different on the 3 pages that we have, the chat, status and calls. So for that we have to do the create first of all the floating action button, not the flexible space, but we have to specify it outside the app bar in the scaffold floating action button. And then here we will do call the method of switch floating action button on tab index and pass the tab index. And then let's go for implementing this method. So we got this method like this. So this method is going to switch on that current tab index, and inside the body of the switch we will do when the case is 0, meaning that if the tab bar was 0 on the initial index, meaning that we are on the chats page. So we will return the floating action button with the background color of the tab bar, and the on press will be for now empty like that, and later its functionality will be implemented, and in the child there will be a constant icon of message. And then the same would be for the other status and calls. Pass it one time and one more time, make it 1 and 2, and then its icon would be the camera alt, and for this it would be the add call. And also make sure to implement the default case. Also pass the image icon in here. That's it. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got this button in here. Now when you go to the status page, it will not be changed. That is because currently we are not dealing with the current tab index, and this variable is only used for passing inside the floating action button method, but is not used like when the tab is changed, this method would also be changed. So now it's time to go and implement the body of the scaffold. So outside this will be the body. Inside the body of the scaffold of the home page, we're gonna have the tab bar view. Pass the tab controller inside, and for the children, pass the chat page, status page, calls page. We are going to create it in a while, but for now, to make the use of this current tab index, for now we pass just the constant widgets of center, the text, chat page, status page, and the calls page. And yes, we'll pass the pages also in a while. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got the chat page in here. Now we can swipe, we got the status page, chats page, and like that we got a basic UI of our WhatsApp homepage. But now this is still not changing. So to deal with this, we will do inside the init stat, we will add the listener on the tab controller, and we'll set stat, and the current tab index will become equal to the tab controller current index. Now we will hot restart our application. Go for agree and continue, next, next, and also next. Now when we move to the status page, you can see its icon changed. Now for the calls page, it also changed. Status calls, like that. So we got this functionality also. Now it's time to create the chats page, status page, and the calls page. So for that, we have to create the features like that, because the chat is going to have its own remote data source, and it's going to have its own backend implemented. Everything will be separated that way, as we have for the user, all the user functionality dealing with the backend stuff like creating user, updating user identity, and then creating user in the Firestore database. All of that stuff will be handled in that user. And later, if someone works on our application on that WhatsApp, if you want to make changes in the user functionality, so he don't have to look anywhere in the application, but just come to the lib directory inside the feature, go to the user feature, and there you go. You will find everything separated and isolated. You can make changes easily in this software of WhatsApp that we are building. So that is what a software is. It's changeable and will be useful, and everyone will be able to make it change inside. So that is what I wanted to explain in the first video, like what is a software. It's a product that must be changeable. So that is what we are achieving in this bootcamp, like how you can make softwares that are changeable, but not making a software a hardware that is not changeable. So we are following that TDD structure. So anyways, let's go for creating the features. Inside the features, we will go for new and the clean architecture generator and Flutter. That is because we are not going to create the directories manually. So if you don't have this one, simply you have to go to the Android Studio settings and then go to the plugins in the marketplace. You have to search for the clean architecture, and there you go. Install this first plugin, clean architecture for Flutter, and you will be allowed to create the clean architecture generator like this for Flutter, and name your feature. Let's say I want to name my feature chat, and if you want to split the data sources into local and remote data source, so you can do it. Let's try it, split the remote data source and local data sources. For now, I have not split it in that user feature in here. I just created the data sources, and inside that I can create the local data source and the remote data source. It's upon me. If I want it, I can do it, and if you want it, you also can do it, and you can also ignore it. It's upon you. So let's go for it. Okay, we got this chat feature with the same data, domain, and presentation. And the presentation, we have the manager, pages, and the widgets. The manager is because we can have any state management solution that we want to use in our application. And in the domain, we have SAM entities, repositories, and use cases. And also the data, local, remote, and the repositories. The local data source and remote data source are splitted. That is because we check that checkbox to split the local data source and the remote data source. So we got our chat feature. Next, let's create the feature of the call. We will create the call and also split the remote data source and the local data source. So we got the call feature also in here with the same data domain and presentation layer. And also we need one more feature, that would be the status. Split the remote data source in the local and remote, go for OK. And we got this where it is the status feature with the same data domain and presentation. So now we are going to create their pages inside the pages directory inside the presentation layer. For the call, we will create the directory, not directory, but the dart file or library. Its name would be the calls history page, because that page would be the page where we will see the history of calls. And for now, let's create a stateless widget in here, calls history page. And let's go for the material.dart, and then it is going to return a simple scaffold for now, body, center, child, text, status, not the status, but the calls history page. That's it. Now copy this and create the page for the chats, and there will be the chat page. There will be the same, change its name to chat page and make this constant for now. It will be the chat page. That's it. Copy this and also go for the SAM. Where is that feature of, we have created the call, the chat, and the status is remaining. So there is a status inside the presentation, inside the page. Go for creating the directory status page and then paste it in here, make it status page and go for the status page. And then let's go for calling it in the home page, and there will be not these pages, but first the chat page and then the status page, and lastly the calls page, call history page. That's it. Now Ctrl S to reload, and we got the text of that pages like that. So that's it. Now it's time to go for creating the chat page. So first of all, let's close these features and open it again. Now we will go for the chat page, presentation, and the pages, the chat page. So now we are only working with the chat feature and not affecting the other. We don't know about the other features. So that is the beauty of the clean architecture. Yes, it would require more work, like creating the features in the separate directories and create their use cases again and again, creating the repositories, implementations, and then creating the dependency injections. You'll get to know about this in the future. It requires more work, but it also gives us the way of keeping everything separate so that it is easy for us to keep every feature in track and make changes anytime we want without any hassle. So that is again the beauty of the clean architecture. So the chat page, in there we're gonna do, first of all, we are going to have a list view builder, and for that we have to remove the const. And then this is going to return the list style widget, and in the leading property we pass the size box of width and height 50. In the child we clipped that profile widget. For now it will give us the profile default from our assets. That is because we have not passed the file or the image URL. If we pass the file and also pass that file from our gallery that we picked from the gallery, so that image will be displayed in that profile widget. But if we have some image or network URL, so we have to pass it in the image URL, and then that will be loaded from the network and also will be cached That is because we are using the cache network image package for that. Next, in the title we have the user name, and then the subtitle we are going to have the last message, and then for the trailing we have the date format .jm. It's the date format to just display the time for the message, and then this text of the date have some styling like gray color and font size 13. Now if we Ctrl S to hot reload, we got the users like that. It's infinity for now, so we have to specify the item builder, not the item builder, sorry, but the count. We will do it for now, let's say 20. Now we got the 20 users in place, and also you can see this date format means this, showing only the time. There will be the last message, the user profile. For now we have not specified any, so we are getting the default profile like this. Now we are going to create the status page. So for the status page, we will move to the close this feature, go to the status, open presentation, pages, status. Now we will only work inside this status page. So remove this, and its body is going to return. Also remove this constant. First, we're going to have a column, and then wrap this column with the widget of single child scroll view, because we are going to make the area scrollable. Then inside this column we are going to do, first of all, we need a row. That is because for building the user profile like this and this plus icon, my status, tap to add your status, and the recent updates, this is aligned in the row. So for that we need a row in here. So we got the row inside the column. The column is because we need the recent updates, and there will be the other user statuses. So we need the column, also in the column we need a row. So we got the row. Inside that row, first thing that here would be this tag widget, because we also want to align this add icon on top of this user. So to align or place things over each other, making the layers of the widgets, we have this tag widget. So inside this tag widget, we're gonna have this container. Its margin will be horizontally and vertically 10 with an height 60, and also clipping that profile image with the circular 30. So it will become a circle. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got this in here. Next, we want this add icon on top of it. So in this tag here, we will create a position widget with having the space of right 10, bottom 8, and its child will be a container with the width and height 25, and the box decoration, the color will be the tab color, border radius will be 25, and border will be from all sides of the background color, and in the center we're gonna have a simple icon of add. That's it. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got this plus icon in here. Now we need the my status and tap to add your status update. So for that we have to come out from this tag and put the comma in here. So we're gonna do in front of this tag widget or this tag or the profile, we're gonna do create an expanded widget, because all that area will be taken by this my status, and tap to add your status update text. So the child of the expanded widget is going to be a column. That is because two texts are aligned vertically. So we got two text widgets inside the column and some size box of height 2 vertically in the column. Now as we don't have any changeable data that can be changed with the stat, so we can easily make them constant, and later if we have some data like that, so the constant will be removed and that data will be adjusted accordingly. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, we got the my status and tap to add your status in the middle. That is because the cross axis alignment of the column is by default is in the center, so we have to make it explicitly start, so it will become like this. So we got this area. Now we need the recent updates text, and then there will be our users statuses. So outside from that row we got some size box vertically and a text widget of recent updates. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got this in here. That is because we have to make the cross-axis alignment of the column also to the start. So we'll got this in place. So let's go and wrap this text with the padding widget, and it will be symmetric, not symmetric. Let's make it only lift 10. That's it. Now make this constant, Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got it like this. Now here, right after this, we want a list view builder, and there will be the list of users like we have in here, but instead showing off the user image, recent text message, we will display something else in case of the status. So put some size box of vertical 10, and right after this we got a list view builder, item count 10, shrink wrap will be true, which means that all the space the list view will take according to its children, but not the constraints coming from its parent. So its builder is going to return the list style, and then the leading property of the list style would be container margin all side 3, width and height 55, and clip that profile widget image like that. Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got the profiles like that. Now we need the content next to them. So to get that content, we will use the title and the subtitle property of the list style. For the title, we got the username, and for the subtitle, we use the format date time method that we have created in our constants here. So it will give us the today, tomorrow, yesterday, the time accordingly. So we use it, and for now we pass the date time right now, and later this will be the time of the status on the time that specific status is created. So as this is just a UI, so we did it like that. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got the username and the date of the status on that specific time that is created. So we got the status page like that. Now it's time to go for the calls. So the call will also be pretty simple, just like the one we have, the chat. So for that we have to close the status and then go for the call inside the presentation layer, page, and then the call history. Now we know that what we have to do, remove this body from here, not the body but the content that the body was returning. So here in case of call page, the body of the scaffold is going to do, there would be again single child scroll view and the column, and then the children of the column is going to accept some vertical height, and then for the text it's wrapped by a padding widget horizontally 15, and then it's little bit style, font size 15, color gray, and the font weight is a little bit bold of W500, and then some more vertical height. That's it. That recent would be accordingly when we have the calls history in the calls page or not. So if there is not, there will be displayed no recent history, otherwise there will be the text of recent. Next we have to do Ctrl S to hot reload to get the result. We got the recent in here. Next we need to display the user's call history like this. We have the user profile again, the name, and when this call is made, and the time, and this phone icon, and then its call is made and that was declined by the recipient, and then this call was received by this user. So here we have to create the list view right after this list view. So we got the list view, the item count will be 20 for now, shrink wrap is true, and the physics will be scroll physics, and in the builder is returning the list style. So the list style properties will be defined like that. For example, the leading property is going to deal with only the simple container of width and height 55, and in the child we have the clip direct of profile widget. And next, the title property is going to return the text widget of username and a little bit style of font size 16, and the subtitle property is going to return this time a row and an icon of the call made. Later this will be decided accordingly, like if the call is made or received, and if it received we picked up or not. The color will also be decided accordingly. Its size is 19 and some horizontal space of width 10, and in some text of the date when this call was made or received. Now Ctrl S to reload, and we got the list view like that. Today the call was made, the username, the profile, and for making the recent to the start, we have to do the same thing, cross X alignment to the start. Then we need one more thing, that is this icon. So for that, there is also the property the list style provide us, that is the trailing property. So this simple icon of call. Now Ctrl S to reload, and we got it like that. So our calls page is also created, the status is created, and the chats page is also created. Now one last thing that is remaining is we have to create the context page. It is going to be really simple like the calls page in the chats page, and then we'll go for ending this video, and the other pages will be decided in the part 3 of UI designing. So now let's go for closing this call feature, open the app feature, go for the home. Inside this home we will create one more dart file, will be contacts page, and will be a stat list widget for now, contacts page, material.dart, and then simple scaffold, body, and list view, builder, context, indexed, and then it is going to return a list style, and its item count will be 20, and its app bar will be app bar of title text. There will be written select contacts to send them a message, make it constant. And in the properties of the list style, we are going to do the very simple thing, leading size box of width and height 50, and the profile widget, the title, username, and the subtitle of hey there, I'm using WhatsApp. That will be the status of every user in the context page. Now we have to Ctrl S to reload, but we have to create the navigator push on that. So now we have to go to the home page, and here for the first floating action button in the on press, we'll go for navigator dot push. The routing will be managed later, so for now will be material page route context, and then go to the context page, and then make it constant. Ctrl S to hot reload. Now when we click this will navigate us to the context page, from where when we click a context, so we will be navigated to the single chat page and start chatting with that user. So that's it for today's episode. Now let's do a quick review what we have created, how to start the application. So we created the simple splice screen, welcome screen, the verify phone number, login page, or you can say verify your OTP. Next, we created the beautiful home page of chat status calls like that, and later there comes the dynamic data from the database, and then we can go to the context page. But here is one loophole again, we can go back to the profile page, and this is not going to be the expected behavior. So we don't want this home page in the stack. So for that we have to go to the user, presentation, pages, initial profile, submit page, and instead of using the push method, we will remove this and copy the home page from here and remove this full. So there we have to use push and remove until, and in new route we will do material page route, and again the same context, and we'll return the home page like that, make it constant until it's false. So that is the last thing that we're going to test, how to start the application. And we got our splice screen in here, and then let's go for agree and continue, next, and go for the next and next, and there we go, we got this removed. So that was the last thing that we wanted to achieve. And in the next video we are going to create the rest of the pages, like the settings page and the calls context page, and lastly one more page of my stats page, and that will be it for the UI. And then we will go for routing and the other backend stuff. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section. That's it. See you in the next one.